with the accords with France, with the United Kingdom, the building out with the European Union, changes to the coverage of healthcare in this economy. So all of those steps, the scale of ambition and change in creating one Canadian economy. And I think one of the things that I would emphasize is that I recognize, and my government recognizes, the need to act dramatically and act rapidly to build an economy that's strong for Canada, to control what we can control, to build for us and by us. That's what we're doing. The other thing I would add is that we have some very strong members of our caucus, of ministers. I'm fortunate to serve with them. We are recruiting to build some for us exceptionally strong candidates across this country. Some have been announced. Many more will be announced in the coming days. This is a renewed government, and the proof is in the action, and the action has been considerable. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Carney. Christopher Nardi from the National Post. So Alberta Premier Danielle Smith recently said that she had asked the United States administration to pause their tariffs during the federal election because they were benefiting Liberals in the polls and hurting Conservatives under Pierre Poilievre. What is your response to those comments, and will you be able to work with the Premier in light of that revelation?
Well, my responsibility is to work with all Canadians, with all stakeholders, certainly with the premiers, with national Indigenous organizations, with Labour, with other stakeholders, with everyone. So that's my responsibility. I take that seriously. I was pleased that at the First Ministers meeting we had unanimous consent on our communique, on our objectives. We have to follow through with action for that. With respect to the Premier's comments, I take note of her alignment of Mr. Poilievre with Mr. Trump, and would note that that's one of the decisions that Canadians will have to make, whether they want a government that is unifying, that's standing up for Canada, and is taking focused action to build a better economy, or they want division and Americanism, and that's what Mr. Poilievre seems to be offering, and just endorsed by the Premier of Alberta.
In French, on Ms. Smith, please.
En ski, oh, mon Dieu. Okay. C'est beaucoup.
Yes, that's a lot. First of all, as Prime Minister, I work with all groups, with all premiers, and with all Indigenous leaders, unions, workers, representatives in society. That's my job. And I do my job. There is an example with a consensus that we reached last Friday at the Premier's meeting. Another point, it seems that the Premier of Alberta is saying that, yes, Mr. Poilievre and Mr. Trump are essentially the same. That's a choice that Canadians will have to make. Do they want a Canadian Trump? Or do they want a government that unites the country and that puts the emphasis on action in order to have a strong economy that works for all Canadians? It's not easy to change from one language to the other. No, I have to translate.
Cap immigration until it reached sustainable pre-pandemic levels.
Yeah.
Pre-pandemic immigration levels were rising. So will you be lowering, maintaining, or increasing current immigration levels? Yeah,
this is an important question. So the way I would characterize the situation is that post-COVID, there was a surge in immigration, both in temporary foreign workers, in foreign students, as well as permanent immigration, and we have not lived up we as have not lived up to the bargain with those people. There's not adequate housing. Not everyone who came here for an education was getting an education that they would expect. And a consequence of that, many other aspects, but a consequence of that is the new caps that have been put in place on much lower levels of immigration, including temporary foreign workers, including foreign students. And those caps, or something similar to those levels, in my judgment, need to remain in place until we've expanded housing. We've reabsorbed the levels of immigration that have happened in our country, and so there's not a predetermined point where one would remove or adjust those caps. Si je peux dire, parce que chaque question
If I
est,
can say this,
en
because
anglais et en
each
français.
question seems to be in English and French, so I'd like to say, with regards to Quebec, one aspect of immigration in Quebec is a question of integration of immigrants to Quebec society. We need to have a rhythm of immigration that allows for integration.
Judy Trin with CTV News.
C'est pas chaud aujourd'hui, hein?
Prime Minister Carney, you're a practicing Catholic. You went to church before you visited the Governor General this morning. Do you explicitly support a woman's right to choose? And how will your faith impact your policy deliberations should you win this election?
Thank you for the question. I wouldn't have drawn attention to the fact I went to church, but thank you for noting it. I absolutely support a woman's right to choose unreservedly, and will defend it as the Liberal Party has defended it proudly and consistently. I will defend the Charter proudly and consistently, as the Liberal Party does. I would say this: I don't speak about these matters. I think what's relevant, when I say matters, my personal faith or spirituality, but I'll say what's relevant is that it informs my sense of responsibility and service. I feel, that I should serve our country the best I can. And if I go back to my journey to be standing in front of you here, I did feel at the turn of the year, as the crisis bore down on us and the need for big change, that I should put my hand up and be part of that change. I'm humbled that I was chosen as leader of the Liberal Party. I'm privileged that I have had this time in government, a short time in government. We have made major changes to put Canada in a stronger position, a much stronger position. But much more needs to be done, and that's why I'm standing here in front of you and have asked, and the Governor General has agreed, for us to have this election so that we can make real change, positive change that brings this country together and builds an economy that works for everyone.
Why did you choose to run in the riding of Nepean, and what was involved in your decision in terms of also the fact that Mr. Chandra Arya, who has represented this riding for quite some time as a Liberal, what is the situation involving him being disqualified from running in this race? And do you live in this riding?
So several things there in your question. First, the decision of candidates selection or candidate approval, we have within the Liberal Party a committee called the Green Light Committee, which takes into account various information about candidates, does basic candidate due diligence, if I can put it that way. Mr. Arya, so I am not a member of that committee. They take their decisions. Mr. Arya, as you know, was disqualified from the leadership race for the Liberal Party because of certain factors. That informed the decision, is my understanding, of the Green Light Committee to recommend that he be disqualified as a candidate in Nepean. Now, from my perspective, I've been a resident in the Ottawa area for almost 20 years, with the exception, of course, when I was quite obviously a resident in London when I was governor of the Bank of England. But apart from the time when I was governor there, I've been resident in Ottawa. I know Nepean well. I was best man to Peter Chiarelli, grew up in Nepean. So from Barrhaven to Bell's Corners and in between, it's an area I know well. And in many respects, it's representative of many of the aspects, not all the aspects, but many of the aspects of this country. Median incomes around probably $55,000, so a little less than the national average, but in there. Very diverse.
Wow.
Both the opportunities and the challenges that we face as a country, and those are challenges that I'm looking to address. That's why I put my hand up. That's why I'm here as Prime Minister. That's what I'm eager to move forward with my Liberal colleagues on. And this is the positive vision that we're putting forward for the people of Nepean, the people of Ottawa, the people of Ontario, the people of Canada. Thank you very much.
Welcome to the channel.
In French? And then could we ask another question in French? Okay. First of all, with regards to Mr. Aria, there's a process within the Liberal Party for each candidate it's called the Green Light Committee, and there are considerations that there are things that the committee has to take into account when they make a decision. With regards to Nepean, I can stop there, and I'll have the final question in French. Yes, go ahead. Hello, Mr. Carney. Le Devoir. My first question, and then a follow-up. You say that you want to make the public service more efficient. Could you give us a couple of examples of programs that you're going to cut? There are two things to that.
I think whatever this guy says is
If we have, for example,
maybe
a program
rude, not live,
to fast-track investment in housing,
not reality.
so for each government dollar, how many dollars from the private sector will be invested? So it's a question of productivity, really, not of cuts. And you still didn't speak to Mr. I'll have the final question in French. Yes? Go ahead. They'll want to choose the best person to face off with President Trump. Given that this will be a very short election campaign, are you prepared to speak with Mr. Trump to show to Canadians that you're able to stand up against him? I am fully able to do that. I'm fully able to stand up to him.
No shit, Sherlock.
There are conditions, though.
To one another.
With regards to the President, he has to recognize that Canada is a sovereign country. He has to say it and accept it before having a broader discussion with regards to a commercial trade agreement.
Like, wouldn't it be like this? Like, if a bully came into my neighborhood, at my park, at my house, at my school, blah, blah, blah. He came in, he started demanding shit, right? Like, I knew I couldn't fight him, but I needed to communicate with him, so I'd have to go up and talk to him, right? Well, when a bully comes to his neighborhood, and he's like really like 1/10 the size, he looks up at the bully and says, if you don't respect that I'm here and this is my parking lot and my playground, then come on, bro. It's not the way to communicate.
We're always having discussions. That's all. Thank you. That's all for the press conference. Thank you.
Come on, bro. It's not the way to communicate.
We're always having discussions. That's all. Thank you. That's all for the press conference. Thank you.
That's it, my friends. This is it, and that is it. Next, I'm going to make a couple more videos today. I'm back. It's been a while, couple
We're always
weeks.
having discussions.
I got smashed
That's all?
a couple
Thank
weeks
you.
ago. I
That's
got
all for
assaulted
the press
downtown while I
conference.
was
Thank you.
just walking down the street. I got jumped
That's it,
by
my
some
friends.
homeless
This is
junkies,
it.
and they tried to bite my finger off. They did a pretty good job. It's pretty messed up.
I'm back. It's been a while.
We're
So
always
I'm coming
having
back today.
discussions.
God bless.
I got smashed
See you soon.
That's all?
a couple
Thank
weeks
you.
ago. I got
That's all for
assaulted
the press
downtown
conference.
while I was
Thank you.
just